Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another video from Homesteading Off the Grid and another morning ramble. Am I shooting live on location today? I'm sitting here in the woods instead of in the field. No, I'm still here on a homestead. I'm in my woods back behind the field. See? Look at that, dropping the phone everywhere. I'm back in the woods because the sun's up higher than usual, because I'm out here later than usual, because I've been busy this morning. Today is the first day of school for my son, and that mean old school bus came by here a little while and took him away from me for the next 7 or 8 hours. So I'm getting up here a little bit later. You know, I'm usually up here around 6:30, but now it's almost 7:30. So the sun's up above that poplar tree with all the leaves that my wife dearly says looks like t-shirts. So I had to sit back here in the woods to keep the sun out of my face. So it's first day of school. My little boy's growing up, and he's in 2nd grade now, and he lost his tooth yesterday. I think this is his 3rd tooth he lost. So it's just the irony of it all, isn't it? You know, here it is. He loses yet another baby tooth the day before he starts school in the 2nd grade. It's just all going by so fast. Am I glad school's back and I finally get some peace? No, I'm not, because I could be with my little boy all day, every day. Do I wish that time had gone slower through the summer so it would have felt like we'd spent more time together? No, I don't, because we did spend a lot of time together. Took advantage of every day we had. So it is what it is. Time marches on. I've learned to accept things, and you know, he'll come back today at the end of the day, and we'll just be together this evening. You know, I was thinking about what to talk about today, and I thought, well, I need to talk about my son because it's the first day of school. And there was a meme that we would share occasionally on Facebook. You know, my wife was on Facebook the other day, and she went to our page, and she said people are messaging the page. Folks, I don't know if we'll ever even, I mean, we have like practically no presence there anymore. So, you know, we're over here accessible on YouTube now because of how Facebook continually changed things on us. But at any rate, there was a meme we used to share on Facebook. It had this picture of this cute little boy, and he was wearing bib overalls and a John Deere hat. And it said, don't give me everything you wish you had. Teach me everything you wish you knew. And we always liked that, and the folks always liked that when we'd post that. It seemed to do really well because that's a pretty powerful thought there. And so I was thinking this morning, what are some things I wish I could teach my son, I wish I'd known? And I just couldn't come up with anything because I just don't. Sometimes I feel like the world keeps spinning around and I'm riding on it. I'm going around making several turns really without learning a whole lot of stuff. I think I've learned a few things, but the thoughts that kept coming to my mind are, what are some of the things my son has taught me? Because you guys have seen him in some of our videos. I mean, he's just a spitting image of me, isn't he? He looks like me. He acts just like me. You know, I don't know if you can see that much into it. You probably can. I like to sit up here and talk, and he likes to take his very long, lengthy bows at the end of our videos. He's a little me in so many ways. And so just from observing my son, it's like, you know, the yogiism. I was talking about Yogi Berra recently, and Yogi Berra said you can learn a lot just from observing, or you can see a lot just from watching. And a lot of folks who aren't too deep, they don't get that, but there's a lot to that. And you folks are pretty deep. That's why you're here. And either that or you're just my kind of crazy. But that's pretty deep. And so I've just watched my son. He's 7 years old now, and I've just watched. And I can't help but notice all the similarities. I can't help but see the me in him. And so here's some things my son has taught me. My son has taught me that, well, I guess he's taught me that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. My son taught me that when I was a little kid, I was probably pretty cute. I wasn't as ugly maybe as I thought I was. And that's common for children, isn't it? Especially in adolescence, we think we're all dumb, ugly, and unloved. My son hasn't quite reached that stage in his life yet, the puberty years, where we all think we're dumb, ugly, and unloved. But I see my son do things, and he's taught me that sometimes he does things just because he's a 7-year-old little boy. And last year he was doing things just because he was a 6-year-old little boy, or the year before that a 5-year-old little boy. You see what I'm saying? My son taught me that sometimes little kids just do things they do because that's what little kids that age do. And so he taught me by allowing me to watch him that when I was that age, I probably wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad. I was just doing some of the things I did because I was a 5-year-old little boy, or a 4-year-old little boy, or a 7-year-old little boy. He's taught me that I was probably just as cute as he is while he does these things, whether anybody ever told me or not. But I see it now. I can see it for myself now. So my son, I guess he's taught me that I was probably a pretty good kid. I don't know if this is making a lot of sense. It might to some of you. You know, it's interesting. I'm going to address something now. It's kind of an elephant under the rug that we said we wouldn't address, but I'm going to address it anyway. You know, we read the comments and we see some comments, and you know, and this never happened really until we got to the U.S. Because I guess people notice these things here. People have asked me since I've been back, what's it like to raise a biracial son? You know, because my wife's Filipina, and so Daniel is I guess ethnically he's half Filipino, half white, Caucasian American. So they've asked, what is it like to raise a biracial son? I don't know. That's how I answer this question, and they look at me like, what do you mean you don't know? That's not what I see. I don't see a biracial son, a biracial child. I see my son. I mean, I can tell you what it's like to raise my son. I know that makes a lot of sense to you guys watching this. That might not make a lot of sense to the folks that ask these questions. They've asked, so what's it like to raise a bilingual child? I don't know, because I don't view Daniel as a bilingual child. I view Daniel as my son. You know, what I'm getting at here, and I know you guys get it, my son, more than anything, this is the biggest thing my son has taught me. My son has taught me the meaning of unconditional love. That's something I'm not so sure I understood in my life until I can't say that completely. I can say having children, that's how I'll word this. Having children has taught me unconditional love. I'm fortunate with Daniel that he has a mother who also views the importance of family equally the same as I do, and appreciates the unconditional love that we have within our unit. And that's been a huge blessing to my son, and it's been a huge blessing to me, and it's been a huge blessing to my wife dearly. So that's something we've kind of learned as a family unit and as a group, where everybody on board appreciates and understands the importance of unconditional love, respect, give and take, knowing that when times get difficult, the unit needs to stick together even stronger. And we do that, we've done that, and I'm cautiously optimistic we'll continue to be able to do that. So I can't tell you what it's like to have a biracial son, for those who are curious, but I can tell you what it's like to have a son, because that's how I see Daniel. I can tell you I love him more than anybody in the world. And on that note, you know, we get an occasional comment, maybe once every 2 weeks or something, because you'll hear us from time to time refer to him as our little monkey boy in our videos, or I'll call him Monkey Boy. Dearly calls him Monkey Boy. This is a term of endearment. It's just something we started calling him when he was a baby. And you guys get that. Those of you who have children, there's just always, you know, your little snuggle wuggle, your little whatever the term of endearment is. And this is just something we started calling him when he was a baby, and it's just something that's kind of stuck. And now we make attempts not to do it as he's getting older in front of his friends, because, you know, little boys, little girls even, they don't want to be called their terms of endearment in front of their friends because they're big kids, right? But we've had people make comments something along the line that We shouldn't call him that because he's part Asian or something like that. Again, when I read that, I'm taken back for a second. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess he is, because I don't think about that. He's not part anything. He's fully, wholly, and completely my son. Okay? You know what I'm saying, right? Well, on that note, if you think that I would ever intentionally call my son something derogatory, first of all, I never made any connection in my mind between the word monkey and the Asian ethnicity in the first place. So when people mention this, I'm like, oh, I don't see the connection. I'm sorry. But okay, for those folks who have made some sort of connection in this regard for whatever reason, and then pointed out to me that my son is half Asian, I first say, oh, okay, well, I really didn't. I mean, I guess if I think about it, I realize it. It's obvious, but I just see him as my son. So then my next statement would be, if you think for any minute that I would ever say anything derogatory to or about my son, who I love more than anybody in this world because of his ethnicity or anything like that, you need to have your head examined. Seriously. Point number 1B on this note. People have said I should not do this. Dearly, who is all fully, completely Asian, should not call him monkey boy for these reasons. Point number 1B. If you think for a minute that I'm going to change a term of endearment I've used with my son since before he could walk and talk, for purposes of political correctness or super sensitivity, you need to have your head examined. There it is. And if you've been following this channel, you know I am not political. I am not religious. That stuff destroys relationships, and it keeps friendships from forming and people from bonding in ways that could be beautiful. I'm certainly not bringing that stuff in between me and my son and my wife, and as far as a simple term of endearment that is completely innocent and not malicious in any way goes. So there. And my son has taught me this. My son has taught me that in his presence, it is completely and perfectly, totally acceptable to be who I am, to love him unconditionally because he loves me back unconditionally. You know what? You guys have been following know that we just went through a pretty tough year, almost a year. It was about 8-month period. Revenues were dropping from writing revenues and whatnot. They bottomed out, but we didn't realize it. We didn't know where the bottom was. And so when we'd hit bottom, but without realizing it, I went and I got a job. And I was a mailman, as you know. You've been following. And I actually enjoyed the job. I enjoyed the work. I didn't enjoy the environment, and you guys know why. You've followed that saga, and if you missed it, you can go back and watch the videos about it. There's one called Why I Quit the Job I Hate, working at the post office, USPS, or USPS, something like that. Very abusive management, working 7 days for weeks without breaks, 12 hours a day, all these things. You know, I had a thought. My concern was, oh, you know, how's this going to look in my son's eyes? For years, his whole life, he'd just known Daddy's a writer. We could always live the way we wanted to live, do the things we wanted to do. I was concerned about him, you know, more than anything, because as parents, that's how we are, right? I remember, man, the first day I put on my little vest, a reflective vest that said post office on it. I put on my hat and I had my satchel. My son beamed with pride and joy, and he loved telling his friends that his daddy was a mailman. And man, that made it all okay with me. It made everything right with me. And those long hours, and it was hard, and I know it was hard on him, me being gone, because for, you know, 7 years, we'd always been together. And I was always here every day when he got home from school off the bus. And we didn't have that for about 6 months, and it was difficult, 8 months actually. And 6 months at the post office, and 2 months before that I attempted a warehouse for a while, but then I had to, you know, go full-time at the post office. And we're past that. We made it past it. We're back to where we were. Man, my son, he never questioned it, because my son loves me unconditionally. And my son has taught me, well, again, I can't say this. Having children has taught me unconditional love. I'm fortunate that with my son, he also has a mother, and we have a complete family unit where unconditional love is the menu of the day, however you would say that. We're blessed as a family unit to have a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, and a child in that unit, where just we take each other at our best, we take each other at our worst, and we all know that win, lose, or draw, the three of us are trying to do, we are doing the best we can on a daily basis to benefit the unit and the group and the three people who are most important to each person within that unit. So, guys, I don't know if anything I said here today made any sense. And again, for the record, I was not making any attempts at all to be political, or even, I mentioned political correctness. That's something that it's just not really something I even dwell on or talk about. But I guess when you live in the U.S., I mean, I guess it's an issue because people make these comments, so I just kind of wanted to address that. But what I can tell you is my son's not part anything. He's not half this, he's not half that, and he's not half the other. My son is my son. When I look at him, I don't see where he was born or where he lives now, or what ethnic group his mother belonged to and what ethnic group his father belonged to. When he says to me, Mahal Kita Kayuka, that says that I love you very much. To me, it's the same in either language. I see my son, and I see the person who's the most important person to me in the world. And now I'm going to go down and see his mother. I know she's down there having her own struggles with the fact that he got on that mean old school bus today and got taken away from us for 7 or 8 hours, but he'll be back. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the closing parting shot of the homestead as we venture out of the forest together here. You're going to see what I'm talking about with that sun. So, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us for another morning ramble, and we'll see you next time.